I didn't want to bore you with the entire installation of my garage door insulation kit, so I decided just to show you the last 4 panels and how I approached it. I did this single bay yesterday. That's a standard 7-foot height, and while the double bay is 8 feet high, so I had to return to the store and buy another complete kit, and we'll have 4 extra panels left over. Should have just bought the 4 kits to start with, but didn't. Alright, so these are the tools that I ended up using. Obviously a tape measure for measuring. I used a framing square as a straight edge, just a standard utility knife, your standard Wonder Bar / flat bar. I needed a 7/16 ratchet to remove some of the cross braces. And you notice these cross braces on the bottom, in the middle, and then there's one up on top. Well, I used the utility knife to cut some of the pieces to length. I used a table saw to rip most of them, and then also the table saw to cross cut some of the pieces to length. Now let's get this video started by doing an unboxing of the panels. I'm just kidding. That'd just be really lame.
So all of my panels are pre-cut right now. I used a table saw to do all the ripping. The bottom panel and the very upper panel, I was able to put it in without ripping them to length. But all of the in-between panels I had to rip to length. So I just measured down into this channel and up. No, actually, opposite. I measured up into this channel, down onto this lip. Didn't make that snug at all. Side to side, I made as snug as I possibly could to help with sealing those out. So here's how I got these in. Oh, one final thing. One of the biggest complaints I saw online, and again, I told you I didn't buy it online, I bought it locally, but one of the biggest complaints I did see online was people saying that it was fragile and they were breaking panels and stuff like that. And I could see where it would happen. You do have to have a little bit of finesse. You can't just freaking bull your way through it. It does take just a finesse. And knock on wood, hopefully I won't break my first panel here while you're watching. So I would put it in the upper channel. At that point, I can now get this end started, and then I would just slowly push it in and slide it all the way over to this end. These parts here are where I think the people were probably breaking them, because as you try to bow the panel to get it in, you got to get it past the little lip here, and down here you got to get it past the little lip. And I just applied some pressure to them. Kept my thumb pushed in here, so if I didn't quite have it where I wanted it, my thumb would hopefully hold it in place without it splintering, and busting out. Got it in. Make sure it's behind the lip. Pushed it up. Now I know it's going to go in. I just need to get this part over again. Get that in. Basically my panel is in, but I want to slide it down. It is snug up to the top. It just cleared this track, but I want to slide it down. And that's where the Wonder, I use the brand name, but there's where the flat bar, the Wonder Bar, came into use. Slid it up behind there, and you can kind of feel it hit a little groove. Pushing in on the bottom to make sure it doesn't snag and tear the foil. Pry it down just a fuzz. I didn't go far. There's no way you're going to get it sealed bottom and top, so I figured as long as I can get it in so that it's up behind this lip and up back behind this lip, I was happy. Again, holding it in, slide it up, pry it down just a little. Now these screws here, some of them were longer than the others. I don't know why, but on occasion they do hold it out just a little bit. I don't know if it's a bad thing. It probably helps seal it against the front of the door, whereas I can't do that in the other places necessarily. But it probably did help seal it in a little bit. All right, let me pan you over here. Now, with some of the scrap pieces from either ripping these panels to length or off of the ends, these panels end to end are longer on each end than the center panels. So you have plenty of scrap typically to do this with. I rip pieces to go in behind this. This edge is flush. This is a recess. I started out doing basically doing the same measurement thing, and it took a while for me to realize, hey dummy, you can make these considerably tighter because you can force them in. So now my final design was I'm tight top to bottom, minus that little track that's in there. And those I would just slide back behind. Whether it's necessary or not, I take my bar and I put it behind the piece where these two bolts and these two bolts are, and kind of squash it out to bring it out as far as I could to the face of the garage. Now these were a little bit easier to get in, typically anyways, because I don't have to slide them in behind anything. Could have I done that with these two? I probably could have, slid it in back, but as easy as this is, easy for you to say, as easy as this is to do, I just cut those pieces as fillers. Made this pretty darn tight so that it would squash against my filler while pressing against the, this side of the ribs. All right, so again, pulling out in the center just slightly. Don't go crazy. Get it up behind the lip. Now here's where I typically would go against the side with the filler strip. I don't know why, I just wanted to be a little more careful there and try to get it in place and flush them up as best you can, even though once it's in, you really can't see it. So excuse my head in your way. And we do the same thing over here. Pushing that back in tight. Use my wonderful little bar. Finding the top of it. Again, pushing in at the bottom. Grinding it down just a little bit. Trying to split that difference between what I have in the top and what I have in the bottom. Repeat on this side. And there it is. All right, I'm not going to bore you with all of these, but I will go over the far end one and try to do that one quick. All right, so unlike that starter, I do need a little filler strip. And here's where you have to have the filler strip, because there's no way you can get it behind this lip over here and this lip. So you have to have the filler strip here to kind of fur it out. Again, pushing it in, using the bar to press it out into those 4 screws. Basically repeating what I did over on that side, only a mirror image of it. Get it in behind, and my head will probably be in your way here. Get it in behind. Again, pushing it all the way tight to that end. That leaves this end very, very snug. Give it a little more love, and slowly start working that in. And again, I basically try to keep my fingers there pressing in on it just to keep that end from kind of blowing out on me. Slide it up. Carefully bow this end. Again, using my fingers to keep that end from blowing out. And I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to pull this out just a little bit. I got a little too much pressure on that, and I want to get these back in here further. There we go. Because again, I wanted those to kind of match up the face to face on those pieces. All right, holding it back. Give it a little pry down. Same thing over here. Okay, so here's the situation, and you won't be able to see it, but these two screws, for again, whatever reason, seem to be longer. I don't know why they did it. They just had random long screws or whatever. So that means it doesn't want to come down as easily as like this other end did. But I would typically try to just kind of pry it back and push it as far to the outside of the door as I could. Getting the bar behind it again, but maybe a little closer to the end, keeping that pressure there while using my, this one's going to be a little more stubborn. There it goes, there it goes.
So of course my phone had to die just about as I was trying to finish this up, but what I was going to say was I used my body and shoulder to kind of hold that bottom in. Then I went back and finished up the final panel. The only thing I will probably do that I won't show on camera is I think I will adjust the door spring tension just a little bit, as the door wasn't really neutral and it was a little bit down heavy. But I hope this helps anybody that's going to try to do this on their own. Again, I think it was worth doing. I hope I will see a little bit of a warmer garage this winter.